Sorry.
Whoa. Did you say something, Jim?
No. Okay. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our board meeting. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Megan, will you call the roll?
Yes, Trustee Lautner.
Here.
Trustee Zara.
Here.
Trustee Council is absent. Trustee Sheehan.
Here.
Trustee Stewart.
Here.
Here. President DeCipio.
Yes.
A quorum is present, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Okay, we're going to move on to public participation. Now, traditionally, we would have just agenda-related items tonight, but I'm going to waive that because we have a couple of guests here who would like to speak to us, and I don't want you to wait for the whole meeting. So, Stephanie, why don't you go first? Please.
My name is Stephanie Belenko. I live in Grange Park, and I'm here today to speak to you about the Golden Rule sailboat. The Golden Rule sailboat has been restored by the Veterans for Peace and will be in the Chicago, it will be docking in Chicago from September 12th through the 18th. And their goal is to support the United Nations Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, support back from the brink measures, raise awareness about the environmental and human costs of military and nuclear activities, and support efforts to stop the possibility of nuclear war. This is a little bit about the Golden Rule's history. The Golden Rule was sailed by a crew of Quakers in 1958 to stop nuclear weapon tests in the Pacific Ocean, Marshall Islands. That voyage, which inspired other peace ships and peacemakers, helped lead to the 1963 Nuclear Test Ban Treaty that prohibits nuclear weapons to be tested in the atmosphere, in outer space, and underwater. And the pass-out that I will give you gives you references to go to find out more information. What I'm going to read next is a proclamation, and this was written up by one of the Golden Rule's crew members to the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago in 1986 became a nuclear weapons-free zone. And this is, I'm just going to read part of it. Whereas in 1986, Chicago became a nuclear weapons-free zone, making it illegal to design, produce, deploy, launch, maintain, or store nuclear weapons or components of nuclear weapons within the city of Chicago. Right now, also, Evanston is a nuclear-free zone, as is Oak Park. Whereas, on July 20th, 2022, Chicago City Council passed a resolution calling on President Biden and Congress to cease spending federal tax dollars on nuclear weapons, embrace the UN Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, and make global disarmament a priority. Chicago joined a movement of 50, now 76 municipalities that have passed back from the brink resolutions and is the largest Midwest city to do so. And then there's stuff in between. Whereas Chicago became a member of Mayors for Peace in 2008, thus pledging to make every effort to create an inner-city solidarity transcending national boundaries and ideological differences in order to achieve the total abolition of nuclear weapons and avert the recurrence of tragedies like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And with that, I work with an environmental nonprofit that is in the city of Chicago. And we are working with other environmental and peace activists to make events for the wonderful docking of this boat in the Chicago harbor from the 12th. It leaves the 18th. One of those events is going to take place at the Oak Park Library on September 13th in the evening in the Veterans Room, which seems kind of appropriate since the Veterans for Peace have taken over the boat. There's other events planned, but we haven't got it all written in stone yet. We think there'll be an event at the Moore Sculpture on the University of Chicago campus. On the University of Chicago campus is where the first atom was split back in 1942. So it kind of all started there, the nuclear thing. I do have handouts. I apologize, I only have 2 of these things, but I do have the proclamation plus a picture. So should I give those to someone here that you can share later? So that's the proclamation, and here are some. There's 8 there, I'm sorry. And I also wanted to know if it would be possible to post this somewhere in the Village Hall. I guess I will leave that with her, and I guess you'll have to approve it. And I understand that. So I don't know if you can post that. Thank you. Any questions?
Stephanie, thank you for all your efforts and all that you do for this cause.
Oh, thank you. I'm quite anxious for the boat to dock.
John, did somebody want to come up and speak for you guys now?
Good evening. My name is John Svoboda. I'm the president at St. Michael's Church. This here is Paul Kurtzner. He's also sits on the board. We came to the meeting 2 weeks ago. The working meeting was canceled. We knew about that. We're having an issue at the church. We're the church at like Forest and 31st Street. We've got the old Grange Park fire truck in our parking lot. We're keeping it there temporarily. But we've had issues with basically Johnson Controls. This has been stemming 3 or 4 years now. And we came to the meeting tonight. We spoke to Julia, and we're going to work to see if there's some type of variance or something that we can work out. Paul, do you want to speak to that?
Pretty much what we're looking at is a variance in the fire alarm ordinance and the connection with between Johnson Controls and LTAC. We currently have existing 2 systems, one from Johnson Controls and the other one is from Quality Integrated, which are 2 wireless systems. We seem to be having a lack of service issue as well as a trouble issue that we're having constantly with Johnson Controls versus our other provider. We want to emphasize that we do have 2 systems in effect. It's just that one that's mandated to be connected to LTAC we're having issues with as far as the service providers and so forth. We're looking to get some type of variance. If we can't get a variance, we are working with our fire chief and our attorneys in order to see what type of systems we can work with, as well as with the director of LTAC to hopefully resolve this issue one way or another. That's what we're coming in front of the board to work on right now. But we've got some great information prior to this board meeting, so hopefully we can work on it within the next couple of weeks, get it resolved. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, John.
Yep. Thank you for moving the agenda.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
Okay, anyone else care to speak to the board? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to consent agenda. Megan?
Thank you, Mr. President. The items on this evening's consent agenda are as follows. A, approval of minutes. 1, village board meeting, July 25th, 2023. B, action, accounts payable and payroll summary. Motion 1, to authorize the president and chairperson of the finance committee to sign the register for bills and authorize the treasurer and village clerk to sign checks and payment of operating bills and salaries as itemized in the check registers. And motion 2, to authorize the village treasurer and village clerk to sign checks in the payment of payroll and other bills that become due between this date and the next village board meeting, with subsequent approval of the payroll register and voucher register by the Board of Trustees at its next meeting.
Second. So moved.
Motion and a second. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lauder?
Yes.
Trustee Zara?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Next, I'm going to change the agenda just a little bit more here. We have one of our youth commissioners that's going to be installed tonight, so I'm going to move up one of my items from 14A to get Gary out of here so he can do his homework. Is that okay with the board? Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. The Youth Commission is comprised of 10 members who serve a 2-year term. Currently, the Youth Commission has 4 vacancies to fill due to recent graduations. The village received several applications for the open positions. The village recommends that the following candidates be appointed to serve on the Youth Commission for the terms detailed in the motions. I'm done, I guess. First, Harry Keenan, 8th grader from Park Junior High, appointed to fill a term September 2025. James Furlong, sophomore from Nazareth Academy, September 2024. Devin Zander, junior from Lyons Township High School, September 2024. Abby Franz, senior from Lyons Township High School, September 2024. Additionally, there are 3 members whose terms expire September of 2023. Staff has confirmed that they're interested in reappointment. Katie Byer, September 23rd to September 2025. Luca Deppa, September 2023 to September 2025. Riley Mulhall, September 2023 to 2025. Staff recommendation, staff recommends that the board affirm President DeCipio's recommendation to appoint the aforementioned individuals to the Youth Commission. And I would like to introduce Harry Keenan, who's with us tonight. Harry, would you mind standing up, please? This item is to be placed on the August 22nd, 23 agenda for discussion and action. Therefore, I'll ask for a motion.
So move.
Second.
Mr. President, make a
Somebody want to
motion.
make the motion?
Mr. President, make a motion to appoint James Furlong, Devin Zander, Abby Franz to the Village of the Grange Park Youth Commission to 2024, and to appoint Henry Keenan, Village of the Grange Park Youth Commission to fill a term September 1, 2025, and motion to 2, to reappoint Katie Byer, Luca Deppa, Riley Mulhall to the Village of the Grange Park Youth Commission for terms to expire in September of 2025.
Now I'll take a second.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? You can see the quality of the applicants.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Harry. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zara?
Yes.
Trustee Counts, is absent. Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Congratulations, yes. Congratulations, Harry. Sorry, yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Congratulations, Harry. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on now to Village Manager's Report. Julia?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have just one item to report on this evening. A number of years ago, the village made a number of requests of our legislators for funding for certain projects for our community. As of last week, I am pleased to report that we now have 5 DCEO, Illinois Capital Projects, legislative funding that have been released to the village. The 5 grants that have been released and are ready for processing, which starts with an application, total $850,000, and they are for projects such as for the repaving of Park Road, a new for repairs to Fire Station 2, the roof there. We also have repairs to the Public Works parking lot, as well as improvements to our server room for enhanced cybersecurity. And so this is very good news, lots of work to do, but still, it's always good to get grant funding to bring those taxpayer dollars back to our community. And unless if there are any questions, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Julia. Any questions? No or yes?
Yes, yes, no questions, just congratulations for all your hard work in helping bring these funds to the village. I know it was a long, difficult road, and all your efforts are certainly acknowledged and appreciated.
And you all as well.
Thank you, Julia. Moving on to Administration Committee, Trustee Zora.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 3 items for discussion and action. The first one involves furniture. The fiscal year 23-24 budget includes $73,000 for new furniture in the boardroom in order to increase the functionality of the space for staff and public meetings. Staff requested quotes from 3 companies for new chairs and tables. FH Passion, which holds a state contract and recently completed the renovation work in the boardroom, provided the attached proposal for the chairs and tables. Midwest Office Interiors provided the attached proposals for the chairs, and Prevolve provided the attached proposals for the tables. Staff recommended moving forward with the proposal from FH Passion for the chairs, which are $23,500, and the proposal from Prevolve for the tables, which are $9,916.61. The total cost of the project would be $33,416.61, which is less than the village's available budgeted amount of $73,000. The cost of the chairs exceeds the village manager's purchasing authority, and the cost of the tables is within the village manager's purchasing authority. I would like to make a motion to approve the proposal for chairs from FH Passion for $23,500 and the proposal for tables from Prevolve for $9,916.61, and to authorize the village manager to execute the necessary contract documents.
Second.
A motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Zora.
Thank you. I don't want the public to have to sit in folding chairs anymore, so I think we should approve this.
Any other comments? Yes,
I agree.
Trustee Sheehan?
No, I agree. And with the price being so far under budget, kudos. Nice job.
Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner,
Yes,
Trustee Zara,
Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart,
Yes.
Trustee Caputo.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
A second item included in the fiscal year 2023-24 budget is $100,000 for Village Hall improvements, in particular the men's and women's restrooms for the Village Hall administration side. Over the last few months, staff has met with FH Passion, who holds a state contract, as well as the recently completed work in the Village Boardroom and Police Administration Office. After multiple meetings and on-site walkthroughs, FH Passion provided us with the attached proposal and the scope of work in the amount of $77,508.78. This item is for discussion and action. I'd like to make a motion to approve the proposal from FH Passion for $77,508.78 and approve the not to exceed amount of $80,000 for the Village Hall Administration Bathrooms project, and to authorize the village manager to execute the necessary documents.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Trustee Zora.
Again, this is something that needs to be done, and it's within budget, so I would like to approve this and move forward.
Thank you, Trustee Zora. Any other comments? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner,
Yes,
Trustee Zara,
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan,
Yes.
Trustee Stewart, Trustee Caputo. The
Yes.
motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
The final item under administration is for the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. CMAP awarded the Village of Grange Park a technical assistance project through its annual call for projects. CMAP will provide assistance for a consult-led project to develop a self-evaluation and transition plan. CMAP will work with the village to develop a plan that compiles with the Title II obligations of the American with Disabilities Act, ADA. With the assistance, CMAP will develop a public right-of-way self-evaluation and transition plan of non-compliant assets, helping communities identify improvements that can make sidewalks, crosswalks, curb ramps, and landings, along with parking lots and structures, transit stops, stations, and shelters accessible and easier to navigate. CMAP will also encourage local staff to go beyond the base level of compliance and integrate key principles of universal design into their planning processes. This preliminary start date for this project is September 1st, 2023, and the expected project duration is 12 months. There is no local contribution or match requirement for this project. Staff obviously recommends this. I would like to make a motion to approve a resolution to accept planning technical assistance services delivered by the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning.
Second.
Motion is second, discussion, trustee Zora?
I think this is a great idea. We always need to be more accessible to those in need. I did have one question. Is this only public spaces, not private? Okay.
Yes, it will focus on public right-of-way.
Okay. That's
Yes.
all I wanted to confirm. That's all I have.
Thank you, trustee Zora. Any other comments? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, trustee Zora. Moving on to building and zoning, trustee Zora?
I have two items for discussion and action under building. Plymouth Place, as the applicant, is seeking an amendment to a planned unit development on the property located at 315 North Grange Road and zoned as R4 multifamily residential district. The subject property is approximately 19 acres and includes multiple buildings. The primary facility is an 8-story structure which was constructed after the village approved a planned unit development PUD in 2005 and houses 182 independent living apartments, 52 assisted living units, 26 memory support units, and 86 skilled nursing beds. 54 single-story cottage homes were approved or were built in the 1950s east of the primary facility and towards the rear of the property. The village approved a PUD amendment in 2017 to demolish a portion of the cottages to facilitate construction of a new employee parking lot. The village approved a new PUD in 2022 to demolish the remaining cottages and replace them with 94 new independent living apartments and several new residential buildings and additional amenity spaces to better meet the needs of the current and future residents. In accordance with the existing PUD, construction of the new Center for Healthy Living and Arboretum Villas is currently underway on the east side of the property, which will include an aquatic center, dining venues, parking areas, landscaping, and recreational amenities. 94 independent living apartments buildings in 2 phases. Recently, after the 2022 PUD was approved, the applicant asked for permission to relocate the greenhouse in the site and to build several new structures, including a covered walkway, gazebo, pedestrian bridge, and a detention pond, and an outdoor kitchen. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing regarding the application for the PUD amendment on August 8th, 2023. The applicant attended the hearing and provided testimony, and in our documents, we have all of the information. Let's see. With exceptions from section 153.193 of the zoning code to allow the construction of a private greenhouse at 415 square feet in the ground area and 16 foot 3 inches in height, a covered walkway at 14 feet 4 inches in height, and a gazebo at 509 square feet in ground area and 17 feet 11 inches in height was approved by a vote of 6-0 by the Planning and Zoning Commission. Staff recommends the approval of the PUD as stated in our documents. I would like to make a motion to approve an ordinance granting approval of an amended plat of planned unit development for 315 North Grange Road. Case number 23-0014.
Motion and a second, discussion, trustee Zora?
I just wanted to ask, since the applicant is here, if you wanted to say anything before we discuss it?
No, we appreciate your support.
Okay.
This is an important add-on, which is donor-funded from the residents. So thank you.
Thank you. I did talk to Maggie about this a little bit before our meeting tonight, just to explain it a little bit more, all the different things that they're asking for, and I don't have any concerns with it. I don't know if anyone has any questions for the applicant, but I am in favor of approving it.
Anybody have any questions? Trustee Lautner?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Actually, the only other greenhouse that I know of exists in the village is Ace Hardware, of course. And my main question is, although it's nowhere near the same size, was there any considerations given to this that was different than was given to the Ace Hardware greenhouse some time ago? And just making sure that everything is in line with what requirements that we held Ace to in this particular one. I know that goes back in history a little bit, so there's probably only a couple of us in the room that may recall some of the details of that, but that was a main consideration or question. I just wanted to make sure that we're in sync with some of the requirements that we placed on ACE when we did that.
I can answer it from memory. May be good, may not be so good. The area that is now the greenhouse at Ace was formerly partially a parking lot and partially an outdoor plant place. When they came in for approval on the greenhouse, they pretty much closed down the entire parking lot and came in for, you know, a greenhouse which was built off of the existing structure. It's not, in terms of design, it doesn't have much in common with what Plymouth Place is requesting. They either had to get a special use permit or a variation, and it was the subject of a public hearing, and they went through the necessary zoning requirements. Plymouth Place is a PUD, so the procedural requirements are different, but part of what the Planning and Zoning Commission had to do last week or the week before was to find that there was a good reason to grant exceptions from our zoning code. And it's not a variation process when you have a PUD, it's just the PZC saying the exceptions are warranted, and they'll contribute to the betterment of the whole project. Does that help to answer the question?
That does, thank you. The second question I had, and it's maybe just a clarification in looking at the plans, is the outdoor kitchen going to be have some sort of a roof over the top? It looked like it was just a pergola, and I was just curious about wintering and how all that's going to be handled, and but it looked like it was just a pergola over it.
Would you like me to answer that question?
Sure, sure.
My name is Daniel Collins. I'm the development consultant for Plymouth Place. The outdoor kitchen is not intended to have any cover over at all. It's only intended for fair weather use and by the residents, and it's in the courtyard that is closest to the main 8-story tower. So it's there, and it's just simply an outdoor kitchen for residential use.
But permanently installed.
Permanently installed, foundations.
So there's no roof over it. That's
no roof, no hood, none of that.
Create fire opportunity or hazards.
It's simply an outdoor grill.
Great. Thank you for the clarification. That's all, Mr. President.
Any other comments? I will make a few. Jay, you and your team have done a phenomenal job again. I attended the zoning board meeting, and what you guys are recommending is quality all the way around. Everything Plymouth Place touches turns to gold. But thank you for all that you and your team have done to make our community better and Plymouth Place obviously better. And Dan, thank you too for all the efforts you've made. So with that, Megan, will you call the roll?
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zara?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you. Moving on, Trustee Zora?
One more item for discussion and action. In 2015, the village board granted Nazareth Academy a variance to install permanent lights on the existing football field. The board's approval was conditioned upon Nazareth Academy hosting no more than 5 night football games per year and obtaining an exception from the village's nuisance regulations in order to operate the sound system past 9 p.m. during those games. The board's approval was conditioned upon Nazareth Academy obtaining an exception for any other use of the lights past 8 p.m. Nazareth Academy has submitted a temporary use permit application requesting an exception from the village's nuisance regulations regarding noise and lighting for 5 night football games and 4 night football practice and soccer games that are listed in our packet. The football games will begin at 7:30 and are anticipated to conclude by 10:30. The football practices and soccer games will keep the field lights on until 9 p.m. Per section 93.04.c.5 of the municipal code, all loud and discordant noises or vibrations of any kind between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. are classified as nuisances affecting peace and safety. The code allows the village board to approve an exception to the nuisance regulations for temporary uses. If the board approves an exception to nuisance regulations specific to the identified dates, village staff will approve the temporary use permit application. Staff recommends the village board grant a specific exception to the village's nuisance regulations. I'd like to make a motion to grant an exception to the nuisance regulations contained in section 93.04.c.5 as amended of the village municipal code for the purposes of allowing Nazareth Academy to operate a sound system until 10:30 p.m. on September 22nd, 29th, October 6th, and 20th of 2023, and one additional Friday between October 27th and November 25th of 2023, to utilize the lights until 9 p.m. on September 18th, September 20th, September 25th, and October 4th, 2023.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, discussion, trustee Zora?
We approve this every year, and we, as far as I know, I guess I should ask that, chiefs, has there been any issues with this, any complaints?
No.
Okay, then I see no reason not to approve this.
Any other comments? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan, and thank you, trustee Zora.
Thank you.
Trustee Stewart, your colleagues have kicked you off both your reports.
Are we doing the report? No, we're not. Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm gonna let him do one report. You want to do the CRC report? Not right now, but you have either the projects, the engineering capital projects, or the CRC. You pick.
CRC.
Okay, we'll move on. Public Safety Committee, trustee Caputo.
Thank you, President DeCipio. Our discussion is about, the declaration of the surplus equipment for the SCBA's. That's a self-contained breathing apparatus. The new SCBA's were purchased and have been placed in service. As such, the SCBA equipment we formerly were using needs to be declared surplus in order to be sold, donated, or disposed of. The following is an inventory of such equipment. We have 26 SCBA units, 2 MSA rapid intervention SCBA packs, 48 MSA face pieces, assorted sizes, and then we have 42, is it 42 or 52? Because I have 42 and written out in 52 in France.
42, Chief?
I forgot. I'm trying to catch the memo. I'm
Sorry.
42, go ahead.
42 MSA breathing air cylinders. The recommendation is for the staff that the village board declare the noted equipment surplus. We're looking for a motion to approve an ordinance authorizing the sale of the surplus property owned by the village of Grange Park, Illinois, and to authorize the village manager or designee to sell, donate, and/or dispose of such equipment.
Second.
Trustee Caputo, you meant to make the motion, right?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. And trustee Zora, you seconded it. Discussion, trustee Caputo?
Yes, I'm approving of it.
Okay, any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
I have a couple more items, hold on. Okay, my next item is in regards to the sprinkler system variation request at 1315 North LaGrange Road, the new greenhouse. The applicant, on behalf of the owner of Plymouth Place Incorporated, is seeking a variation from the village municipal code. Specifically, they are looking for relief from Title 9, Chapter 91, Section 91-6, subsection 903.2. This subsection, in part, reads as follows. Where required in new buildings and structures, number 1, all new buildings and structures of all use groups other than 1 and 2 family dwellings shall be protected with an approved automatic fire sprinkler system installed and maintained in accordance with NFPA 13. Plymouth Place currently has a PUD amendment coming to the village board for consideration. One of the items included in this amendment was for the construction of a standalone greenhouse. The proposed greenhouse will be located in the courtyard area approximately 40 feet away from any significant structures or buildings and will not be connected to the proposed walkway, canopy, or any other structures. It is also proposed to be 415 square feet in area and an overall footprint of about 319 net square feet and 16 feet and 3 inches in overall height, and will also be constructed as a non-combustible structure. In accordance with the requirements of our code, the structure would need to be protected with fire sprinklers. As noted, the applicants would like to obtain a variation from this code required and notes various reasons for such in the variation application, which is attached. This request for fire code variation can be made in accordance with the Grange Park Municipal Code. It is being brought to the village board for consideration pursuant to Chapter 91, Section 91.6, subsection 100.1.2, and as of the board of Appeals to consider this fire code variation shall consist of the board approval of the Village of LaGrange Park. Our action is requested to approve a fire sprinkler variation for proposed greenhouse, and I'm looking for a motion to grant variation from the fire sprinkler requirement for a new greenhouse at the Arboretum Village at Plymouth Place, specifically a variation from the Village of LaGrange Park Municipal Code, Title 9, Chapter 91, Section 91.06, subsection 903.2.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Trustee Caputo?
Well, after some of the comments that Bob asked earlier to the gentlemen that were in the room and asking about roofs and fire safety and so forth, I feel that knowing that that it's further away from the other building and it doesn't have a roof and have some things, it's made of non-combustible materials. I feel this is a safe variance that we could approve.
Thank you, Trustee Caputo. Chief, did you want to make any comments?
Most of them are in the memo, but yeah, based on the design, it's pretty well laid out. I would not usually recommend a variation, especially for sprinklers. But the size of this greenhouse is smaller than most single-family garages now that are, very close to other combustible structures. There is a very limited load. They originally said might only be 3 people at a time working out there. The residents who are familiar with it, it's not the public. There's a maximum occupant load of 10 is what's calculated. And we measured some things like travel distance just to get to the door is only 20 feet. So it's wide open. It sits in a funny area. It's hard to get a water supply to without, substantial cost and maintenance down the road for a 300 and some square foot building. In most cases, I would never recommend a variation for sprinklers, but this seemed to make sense for the particular use and structure.
Any other comments from any board member?
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. So clarification, standalone garages, detached garages typically are handled the same way or not required to be sprinkled?
Yes, and it's a technicality in our code, the way it says all structures. We have not addressed them because they're, accessory structures. This greenhouse kind of is in between, it's a big part of their use, so that's kind of how we looked at it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
Any other comments?
Mr. President.
Yes.
So Chief, just so it's going to be basically glass, steel, and the source of heat is going to be electric, so there'll be no combustible inside or anywhere around. So
No, and that's what we thought about, and they may have, I'm not sure their plans for racking, there may be steel racking, there may be wood potting areas, but it's going to be very limited. And even if we had a significant fire in there, the fire load is not like a garage or a commercial building. It would be very insignificant.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. I hereby move to approve this variance.
Okay. Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. We have one more question from Trustee Lautner. Sorry.
Yeah, I apologize for the delay on the additional question. Will there be a scheduled inspection process, this being a structure like this?
Yeah, again, we try to get in every building once a year, but it's many times impractical, but it would be inspected with the rest of the building on their schedule.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Lautner. Okay, Trustee Zora? I'm sorry, Trustee Caputo?
I actually have one more.
One more item.
This is for the purpose of a 2023 police interceptor. The purchase is to approve 2 new 2023 Ford utility police interceptors, all-wheel drive with accessories. And the general background is for the fiscal year 23-24 budget includes finances allocated for the purchase of 2 new 2023 patrol vehicles. With the addition of these new vehicles to the fleet, a 2013 Chevy Tahoe and a 2009 Ford Crown Victoria will be removed from the fleet. In addition, for the pursuing replacement, police department staff evaluated current needs and investigated which vehicles were available for purchase through state and joint purchasing programs. Staff has determined that our best option is to purchase two 2023 Ford Interceptor utilities, all-wheel drive, available through the Suburban Purchasing Cooperative, which the police department has utilized in the past to purchase some vehicles. There will be some ancillary costs associated with the purchase of these vehicles, such as the installation of radios, emergency lighting, equipment, and lettering, which bring a total price to approximately $118,370.82. The village has budgeted $95,000 in the capital projects fund, 300-50-86500. Staff is asking the board approval to raise the approved budget amount from $95,000 to $125,000 at the time of the budget preparations. The exact amount of the vehicles and equipment was unknown. For example, in 2021, the village purchased a new Ford Interceptor utility for $33,039, and the price for a 2023 Ford Interceptor utility is now $41,516, a difference of $8,477 per vehicle. The recommendation is, after evaluation consideration, that the staff recommends entering an agreement with Curry Motor Fleet of Frankfort, Illinois, for the purchase of two 2023 Ford Interceptor utilities in the amount of $83,032, with a not to exceed of $120,000 to cover the equipment and upfitting costs. I'm looking for a motion to.
You are making a motion.
I'm making a motion to authorize the modification of the capital projects funding 300-50-86500 for fiscal year 23-24 from $95,000 to $120,000, and two, authorizing staff to purchase two new Ford Interceptor utilities police patrol package for a cost of $83,032 from Curry Motors Fleet in Frankfort, Illinois, through the Suburban Purchasing Cooperative Contract number 152, with a not to exceed amount of $120,000 to cover the equipment and upfitting.
Second.
Motion and second, discussion, trustee Caputo.
Well, as you heard, we have two vehicles that are extremely old in our fleet, and I know our staff does a great job on utilizing our equipment to the longevity of what it's worth and everything, and seeing the cost of everything going up in the last couple of years. You know, we obviously shopped around and tried finding a budget that would work the best for these two vehicles, and I think we should approve to have these two vehicles in our fleet, you know, based on the cost of what things cost these days.
Thank you, trustee Caputo. Any comments from the board? Trustee Laudner?
Thank you, Mr. President. So clarification, these two new vehicles will be marked squads for the street.
Yeah, one will be marked with lettering, the other one will be a ghost vehicle, so it'll have the ghost graphics, so only visible at night. It'll be a slick top.
Yeah. Okay, and then roughly the mileage on the two that will be replaced?
The 2014 has about 176,000 miles on it, and I think we're going to keep that for a kind of a fleet vehicle for the village to use.
And then the Crown Vic?
The Crown Vic has about 114, but it's starting to rust through because of its age.
And that'll be
that one will be
surplus.
sold.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Laudner. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just one quick question, Chief. When would both units be street ready?
Well, that's a great question. I've been speaking with Curry Motors for months about getting vehicles, and this just happened to be that I got a phone call 2 weeks ago that Ford is starting to make some. We hope that they make them in September or early October, and we receive delivery in November. So they'd probably be street ready before the first of the year.
Great. Thank you, trustee Sheehan. Any other comments? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Laudner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you, trustee Caputo.
Thank you.
Moving up, Public Works Committee, trustee Sheehan.
Thank you, Mr. President. 3 action items tonight. We'll start with the 2023 sidewalk and pavement patching project. Purpose is to award a contract with Narduli Construction Company, Inc. for the 2023 sidewalk and pavement patching program. The village has several entire concrete roadways within our community. These include the 500 and 600 blocks of Spring, Wayola, Stone, and Oak between Kensington Alley and Brainerd, and Beach from 31st to Oak. During the budget discussion for this fiscal year, it was determined to invest some MFT funds to spot patch these roadways to improve their overall condition. Also included in the bid specification was a cost for removing and replacing deteriorated sidewalks. You see the bid results below from Narduli and J. Narduli Concrete, separate entities. Note that the engineer's estimate was $173,900. Additionally, after the bid opening, Hancock Engineering asked each bidder for pricing to remove and replace sections of curb and gutter damaged during utility work. Only the low bidder provided pricing for the additional work. Last year's pricing for curb work was about $70 per foot. You see the price. Narduli Construction Inc. came in at $68 a foot. Due to favorable pricing, staff recommends maximizing each account for additional work. The MFT funds, $75,000 in account 270-70-80200, sidewalk annual program. $100,000 in account 270-70-61510, pavement patching annual program water funds. And $30,000 in account 570-60600, concrete restorations. Staff recommends awarding a contract with Narduli Construction Company, Inc. for the 2023 sidewalk and pavement patching program and curb and gutter replacement for a not to exceed amount of $205,000. I make a motion, Mr. President, 1, to waive competitive bid and accept Narduli Construction Company, Inc. unit pricing for curb and gutter repair, and 2, to award a contract with Narduli Construction Company, Inc. in a not to exceed amount of $205,000 for the 2023 sidewalk and pavement patching program and curb and gutter replacement.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with staff's findings. This would be, I'm not usually a big fan of waiving competitive bid, but I think in this case it would be good pricing. I'm glad that last year's strike with the union and the companies have come down. That's revealed in the pricing. And Narduli has done work in the village before, and unless Director Ratty corrects me, I don't think we've ever had a problem.
Great. Any other comments from the wards? Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just confirming there's no issue with waiving competitive bidding.
No issue.
Thank you.
No other comments? Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner.
Yes.
Trustee Zora.
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Caputo.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
Next, Mr. President, we have the 2023-24 debris hauling, transportation, and disposal. The purpose is to approve a contract with Lindahl Brothers to haul and dispose of excavation debris from the village dump site. Public Works has increased the number of excavations due to the increase of lead service line replacements and repairing failing infrastructure. These tasks have made our stockpile of spoil rise rapidly, as well as the cleanup of the village dump site. As you are aware, several large fires have occurred, and now the need to implement security is a priority. To provide room for future security enhancement, the barrier wall and all stockpile debris needs to be hauled away to make room. Due to a large amount of stockpile debris, Public Works prepared bid specifications and held a bid opening on August 1st of this year. You see the results below. Lindahl Brothers, Landscape Material, and Firewood Sales, Inc., what their prices came in at. In the fiscal year, the village budgeted in the water fund dumping fees, $570,62400, $120,000 for spoil pile removal. Staff's recommendation, the staff recommends the village board approve a contract with Lindahl Brothers, Inc. to haul and dispose of spoils at a not to exceed amount of $120,000 for the remainder of the fiscal year. Therefore, Mr. President, I make a motion, 1, to enter into a contract with Lindahl Brothers, Inc. for the hauling and disposal of debris and spoils at a not to exceed amount of $120,000, and 2, to authorize the village manager to execute the necessary contract document.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. Pretty much in general background says it all with the increase in workload and the responsibility of the lead service lines and the fantastic job that Director Ratty and his crews do every day to keep us safe. And Lindahl Brothers has worked in the village before. Again, if I'm not corrected, I think they've done a good job, so I would support this.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Any other comments from the board? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Mr. President. One more. Tree maintenance program contracts, tree removal and stump removal. Purpose is to award a tree maintenance program contract for tree removals and stump removals. General background, the village requires contractor assistance to remove dead parkway trees and remove stumps once removals are complete. This assistance is based on the limited equipment and the resources of our Public Works Department. A&B Tree and Landscaping had previously held their pricing from fiscal year 15-16 until this year. Public Works created an RFP and distributed it to 5 contractors to obtain the best pricing and update our program specifications. In the fiscal year 2023-2024 Public Works budget, $10,000 in the tree maintenance fund is allocated for stump removal and restorations, 170,605.00, and $24,500 is allocated in the MFT fund for tree removals, 270,605.00. You see the RFP results below, depending on the different size of the tree, from 7 all the way up to 37-inch width at breast height. A&B, Synod, and Winkler, you see the prices. Stump removal, A&B, Synod, and Winkler. Staff recommends awarding contract with A&B Landscaping for tree and stump removals. Therefore, Mr. President, I make a motion, 1, to approve contracts with A&B Landscaping and Tree Service for tree and stump removals, and 2, to authorize the village manager to execute necessary documents.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion. Trustee Sheehan?
Thank you, Mr. President. A&B has served us well for many years. Many storms and mini storms that we seem to be having at quite a greater frequency. They're out almost as soon as director superintendent calls them. They've served the village well. I think before holding the fiscal year 15 and 16 prices, I think they held it for a few years even before that when I first came on the board. So I have no problem supporting this.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. Any other comments from the board? Trustee Lautner?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to clarify, plan to stay within budget? Thank you.
As of now, yes.
Any other comments? Seeing none, Megan, call the roll.
Trustee Lautner?
Yes.
Trustee Zora?
Yes.
Trustee Sheehan?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Caputo?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously, Mr. President.
Thank you, Megan.
That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Sheehan. We're just clipping along here. Finance Committee, Trustee Lautner.
Until now. Well, this evening we have the first quarter's financial report for the fiscal year 23-24, provided by our brand-new Finance Director, Mr. Larry Nolan. Fiscal year to date, general fund revenue is $1,859,058, or 17.3% of the annual revenue budget, and $60,168, or 3.1% less than last year. Property tax receipts are $29,564, or 87.2% greater than last year, and that's due to the timing issues with Cook County's tax extension and collection. Other local taxes were lower by $36,821, or 16.2%, and that's due primarily to lower natural gas tax receipts. Intergovernmental receipts for the period were down $75,369, or 6.4% from last year. The primary cause for the variance is income tax receipts, which are $86,847, or 11.3% lower than last year. And sales tax and use tax are both slightly ahead of last year, while personal property replacement tax is lower. Permit receipts are at $42,255, or 24.7% less than the prior year, and that's primarily due to a decrease in new construction and alteration permits this year compared to last year. We anticipate that probably might change. Charges for services are $23,486 or 10.6% greater than last year. Increased receipts include ambulance service fees and charges for police detail services. Miscellaneous revenue is at $42,355 or 104.2% greater than last year, and that's due primarily to increased interest income. And our total general fund expenditures are at 20.6% of the annual budget and $67,257 or 3.3% greater than last year. And as we always like to report, all departments are within budget expectations. Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
that
Trustee
concludes the
Laudner.
finance report for this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Trustee Laudner. Moving on to other reports, our village clerk,
No report tonight, Mr. President.
our village treasurer,
No report tonight, Mr. President.
our village engineer. You reported earlier. And a fine job you did. Thank you, Mark. Let's see, before we get to our main event here, our village attorney
No report, Mr. President.
and our CRC committee, trustee. No, I didn't do trustee Jermaine or trustee Stewart. So trustee Stewart with the Commercial Revitalization Committee monthly report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate that. We have a new village staff who we got introduced earlier tonight. Derek Rockwell started his employment this month as the village's new senior planner, project coordinator. Derek brings over 16 years of experience in local government and previously held planner and project manager roles for the cities of Aurora, Naperville, and the village of Lisle, among other municipalities. In the Grange Park, Derek's position will be focused on coordinating planning and public improvement projects in the village's 2 tax increment financing TIF districts and 4 business development BD districts. So welcome, Derek. IDOT survey and interactive map. The Grange Park residents can still participate in the IDOT's statewide active participation plan. Please visit idotillinois.gov to take the online survey by September 30th. And for more information on how this plan will create a vision and identify measures to improve walking and biking infrastructure throughout the state. Lastly, the CRC committee, we had a meeting tonight, and our next committee meeting will actually take place on October 10th at 6 p.m. in Village Hall. Businesses and members of the public are invited to attend and provide input on how the village can best support new and existing business and enhance the commercial areas in LaGrange Park. And that concludes my report this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, trustee Stewart. I'll now entertain a motion to approve committee and collectors reports as presented.
So moved.
Have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I just have a couple items. We already did the appointments. So Julie and I are having lunch tomorrow with FH Passion. They have asked to meet with us. We had dinner with them at the IML conference, and they wanted to get together and talk with us. The IML conference is September 21st to the 23rd. So if you plan on attending, please let Sandy know. And then Julie and I have been asked to speak at the IMA. Is it the Illinois Managers Association?
Yes, ILCMA, that's correct.
ILCMA in November, so we're very excited about that. Also, we have a great event this weekend coming up on Saturday night. One of our beloved here, Maggie, is getting married. And we wish you the best and hope it's a great night and you're going to make a beautiful bride, Maggie. Okay, public participation, non-agenda related items. Anyone care to speak to the board? Already did. Any new business? So Trustee Zord asked me, she said, President DeCipio, if we get done early tonight, can we go back and do the monthly reports?
I did not say that, Mr. President. School starts tomorrow.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Everybody have a great week. Thank you.